let's talk about daycare negligence. We have a couple cases here that involve this. Tell us what it is or what it looks like. And
so negligence in general is people not doing what they should and someone becoming hurt because of that. So to me, the daycare cases and school cases are really strong. These are trained or should be trained in regulated places. The sole purpose of this establishment is to help kids, take care of kids. And the crazy stuff that you see at daycare centers.
like what is considered negligent?
So a lot of them come down to supervision, right? So not watching the kids is a big one. We have plenty of cases like that. Or it could be broken toys. We have one case with a tricycle that didn't have the appropriate
Like grips?
rubber grips on it, and you have sharp metal edges exposed.
So I just filed a lawsuit yesterday, and it alleges 3 things, and they're almost always the same. You're not properly watching the kids. There's some sort of dangerous condition, and the organization has not appropriately trained their employees. So there's 3 different allegations. That's how it usually comes. And if you don't have any one of those, it usually involves all 3. If the person's trained properly, they watch the kids properly. And if they watch the kids properly or they watch the area properly, when there's broken toys, I have a broken toy case too. We both have a broken toy case. I have a plastic plate that's in the kitchen set that's broken, has a sharp edge. One kid throws it at another kid, hits him in the eyeball, and he has permanent eye damage. A 3-year-old kid, his eyes screwed up for his whole life.
Yikes. So the negligent part would be they should have gone through the toys to make sure once in a while that something wasn't harmful or, broken.
Yeah.
3-year-olds shouldn't have knives. They shouldn't have sharp things. Whether it has a handle on it and it's called a knife, or it's a toy and has the blade on it. That's not for little kids.
Right, and it's not the little kid's fault.
Okay, what about circumstances where people say like, oh, well, kids will be kids? What do you have to say to that?
That's what guilty lawyers say.
Yeah.
When they say kids will be kids, I say I'm about to win.
Okay.
Right.
So when there's a daycare case like this, how would you preserve evidence? It's tricky because it's kind of circumstantial, but...
Yeah, so one of the big things, most daycare centers now, or a lot of the reputable ones, have surveillance video.
Okay.
And what we're trying to do in all of our cases, but especially where we know there's surveillance, is get someone out there right away and tell them there's an injury. We're saying it happened because you maintain the evidence. And they're usually
photos.
Video.
Photos, videos.
And there's video right in the daycare centers. And there's another issue that comes up, what video it gets preserved. I know you just had this, and sometimes they'll keep just the 30-second clip of the injury.
Right.
But what happened before and what happened after is also relevant. What happened before, because it shows how they're being supervised.
Right.
And then after, well, that shows you how much pain the kid is in, the damages portion of the video. So
take the broken toy, too. I mean, how long was it broken? That's important. Did it break immediately before the kid touched it? Or has it been like that for 6 months?
Right.
Who brought the broken toy? How many times has the broken toy been in the teacher's hand? Like all that other
Did
video.
someone get injured on this toy before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they talk about it? Did they have a discussion about should we get rid of this on video?
Yeah.
And then decide to put it back out there because it was everybody's favorite.
Right.
So let's also talk about the fact that in a case where minors involved, when there's a settlement, it's not a typical settlement like what would happen if an adult was injured and you reach a settlement. Let's talk about infant settlements. What is it?
So an infant settlement, they can't receive the money until they're of age. And that's a decision for the parents to make about when they can receive the money.
And this is non-negotiable. It has to be put into a trust of some sort.
It has to be in an interest-bearing account. We find that we're typically recommending annuities. So one insurance company pays another insurance company. The money's put there and it accrues interest. And the child has to be at least 18 to receive the money. And then a lot of times what the parents, and then eventually has to be approved by a judge, Supreme Court judge. they're going to break that money up over even more than that. So
Right.
if we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars sometimes,
Right.
and to give an 18-year-old $300,000 is not
Not
necessarily
smart.
good for them
Yes,
or
not
anyone
advised.
else.
Right.
So they'll give maybe
A little bit can help pay for college, right?
Yeah,
And then
or
maybe
buy a house.
Yeah,
or-
maybe when they're
yeah.
25,
Yeah.
you know, you'd have another sum of money. They could use that for a house. You could do it then at 30, then at 35. Just depends.
Right. I feel like that's actually a great way to put your settlements is into a trust because you're actually going to get more in the long run. Can you do that with adult settlements if they wanted to?
Yeah, you can. You certainly can, and people do.
Yeah.
People do that, especially if it's a larger amount of money. Then some of the people know themselves, and they know they maybe shouldn't have a $500,000 sitting around the house. So self-regulating is good.
Yep.
Shoot, I was going to ask you something and I totally forgot. All right. That'll be negligence.
That's a good one.
Yeah. All right.